What's really cool is this is contoured as well. As you see, it's not like a hard right angle.
Oh, true.
Yeah, it's like this whole thing is like sculpted.
Hey guys, Jackson from Mega Music here. Got Jason Richardson sat next to me, who's down here on tour with All That Remains. Last show in Perth tonight?
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Only show in Perth.
Only show?
In Perth.
How's the tour been so far?
Pretty good. Yeah, definitely can't complain. I love coming down here. You don't get to too often.
No,
yeah.
It's a far away place,
I think
that's
it's,
for sure.
Yeah, especially Perth. But what is it? I think the last time All That Remains was here was like 8 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I obviously wasn't in the band then, but it was like one of the sound waves, I think, or something like that.
The old sound waves. Mm-hmm. Rest in peace.
I miss those, yeah. I did one of them with Chelsea Grin when I was with them.
Really?
Yeah.
Sick.
And that was like, it was a lot of fun.
That was a good time, man. Back in Australian summer. Mm-hmm. Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we should talk a little bit about your guitar. Based off the sort of Cutlass model that Ernie Ball had. I wanted to know if there were any certain aspects of the Cutlass model itself that you felt you needed to change for your sort of spec.
Well, essentially, we use the Cutlass as like a primary like starting point to start like molding it into what it ended up being. Because essentially, like the very first prototype is they just took the Cutlass and made it a 7-string.
Yeah.
Like that was just the initial starting point for me to start like changing what I would need to have it cater to more exactly like what I would want. But one of the main reasons we decided to go with the Cutlass is because I was starting to get way more interested in like single coil kind of stuff. Like way more of that like super strat kind of sound. Because they made me a Cutlass, actually, just a regular 6-string, like 22 fret, SSS, like just 3 single coils. There's Buckeye Burl top, Buckeye Burl pickguard, and rosewood neck, full rosewood neck with white binding. Like it's nasty.
Sick.
Yeah, it's a really sick looking guitar. And I was just starting to get into more of that kind of style of playing, or at least intrigued into it to kind of learn the stuff that people would primarily play on that. So we wanted to figure out a way to hybrid like what the guitars, the JPs that I've already been using, and that as well. Yeah. That single coil strat kind of sound, and be able to. I wanted to figure out a way to be able to like switch back and forth kind of between the two with one guitar. So that's why we chose this one as the starting point. But pretty much what we did is we slimmed the neck down a good amount. It was a really baseball batty at first, which is not my favorite thing personally. I like it to be a lot thinner because I feel like it aggravates this like muscle right here.
For sure.
Yeah, a lot more if the neck is way too thick. Like this starts to get pretty sore for me right here, this thumb muscle. So we slimmed that down. We made the cutaway. We trimmed it down at least like twice, so that way you can get like all the way up in here.
Full
and
access up to 24.
And you don't even like bump your knuckles or like anything like that for anything.
Nice.
And this is shaved down as well on the back.
Nice.
Gets rid of some weight and just a little bit more room for your knuckles and all of that. What's really cool is this is contoured as well. As you see, it's not like a hard right angle.
Oh, true.
Yeah, it's like this whole thing is like sculpted. And then the biggest thing is the pickup configuration.
Are these
like
your own?
Yes, these are brand new Music Man pickups for this model. Yeah, these are the only guitar that these pickups are in. And so the way that it works is, so when the tone knob is down, you're essentially in like humbucking mode, is how I would put it. So switch down, bottom humbucker, switch up, neck humbucker, and then when you put it in the middle, it goes right to coil split automatically.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you don't have to like push anything else in order to activate that split.
Awesome. I love that.
That's because cool. I really prefer that sound for cleans as opposed to like all the coils or something like that. And the only reason
the middle coil specifically.
No, I think it's the two outside ones that it activates, and then because the only time I would ever use all of the coils on the JPs is because you would just have to do that extra motion live in order to activate that split. So that was just one too many things to do, like when things are going by super fast. So I just decided to just eliminate that aspect, so it's just that much easier to get to the coil split sound.
No, that's awesome.
And then when the tone knob is up like that, or you just push it and it gives it right up, now you're pretty much in full single coil mode. So now it's just the bottom one, and then just the top one, and then back to split again.
Nice. And do you find that you're going between humbucking and single coil a lot live, or is it just
every clean
occasional?
part every clean part I go right to the coil tap.
Awesome. Because you hear of quite a few guys that have the coil split guitars and just grip it and rip it for the whole set basically. So
no, I ride this thing constantly. Like pretty much anytime I see a guitar that doesn't have the pickup switch right there, I'm just like, how do you even like function with it being like down here or something, and then there's knobs blocking it, or it's up here, because then you have to pick your hand has to leave the strings in order to switch.
Get up to it.
So you get that like just open string noise anytime you need to switch something. With it being right here, you just stick your fingers out.
Yeah, efficient as.
Yeah, and it's just right there. So I'm constantly riding it, even when I'm not plugged in.
Yeah.
It's just muscle memory for me.
Nice. Do you find that Music Man on the whole are quite versatile guitars. Do you find that the versatility of these things leads to a positive influence with things like writing and stuff like that, just sort of having so many tonal options ready to go?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool. On the subject of writing, what begins your process? So does it start with sort of like a little idea of a melody in your head, or do you prefer sort of just picking something up and feeling it out, or what usually is sort of like the go-to for you?
Well, I mean, there's many different ways that you could go about doing that. Anytime someone asks me how to write, I never know how to answer it properly. But honestly, for me, a lot of it doesn't even start with the guitar. A lot of it starts with me messing around a piano or sound libraries that I have on my computer or something like that, and then I'll start forming guitar parts based off of stuff that I'm making on the computer with it, whether it be like a piano part or like orchestration from a synth or some sort of like weird arpeggiator or something like that, and then that'll usually spark an idea. I'll be like, oh, I wonder what that would sound like if I put it on here. A lot of times recently, the songs and ideas don't start with this for whatever reason. I guess it's just like a different way to try and form different ideas and then build upon them and start adding the guitar in after that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just a different approach. Like you said, there's no right or wrong way to write anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess writing's such a hard question to answer always.
Yeah. It's lots of different people do lots of different things as well. You mentioned on your solo album that came out in 2016, you wanted to make something that sounded sort of a great, a movie soundtrack almost. And you mentioned as well that lots of people sort of just build lines and then noodle along them, where you wanted something that sounded intense and flowing and everything with sick prog metal going on in the background. That writing that you sort of delved into for that, is that something that you're going to continue on with All That Remains now that you're a full-time member of the band, or is it a different sort of approach?
Well, I definitely have to keep that band in mind, when I'm writing. They've been a band for over 20 years now, or around 20 years now or something like that, and have 9 or 10 albums or something like that out. So you can't just it's not a good business decision to just come into a band that's already that established and then try and change the sound. Yeah. So I'm definitely, because I'm still doing my solo stuff, that's not going anywhere. So cool. Yeah, I'm gonna continue. That's still very much one of my primary focus. So I'm gonna definitely keep doing that. But when it comes time to write more All That Remains stuff, I'm gonna have to put that cap on. It'll have my own spin on it, for sure.
Yeah.
But it'll definitely be. I'm going to be thinking the All That Remains sound when it comes to that. And honestly, I try to, when I'm writing my own stuff, because they, almost in a way, All That Remains, Kill Switch, a lot of those bands around the mid 2000s spawned generations of copycats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they were one of those bands that started that sound. That's started to blow up after that fact. So it'll definitely be fun to write those metalcore riffs, because I'm in one of those bands that started that to help get it really really way more popular and mainstream. Because I do generally with my solo stuff, I try to stay away from that because it just became so almost I don't want to say cliche, but it just became such a popular sound that so many people started doing. I try to do my own thing and have it be just more different than that. But now that I'm in one of those bands that started that sound, it's going to be really sick to write riffs like that, to try and put like my own spin on it too. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
For sure. Cool. Well, I think that covers everything that I wanted to cover. Thanks so much for coming and doing this with us. And yeah, I guess see Jason with all that remains on reigning tour dates.
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Is the only one left.